And I'm going to throw one other race in for good measure. State treasurer. And that's where it gets just a skosh perplexing for me. And I'm not saying there's anything more than just some perplexing numbers here to consider, Don. Tony Evers specifically got 148,605 less votes than the quote-unquote top of the ticket, the Senate race. I'm not clear that the Senate race was the top of the ticket. I would have thought the gubernatorial race would have been the top of the ticket. Anyways.
Let me just throw this out there, Crudy. We talked about the Josh Kaul and Brad Schimmel race, the Attorney General race. Ballotpedia has total votes in that race at 2.642 million.
Yeah.
Okay. If we compare that to Ballotpedia's Baldwin-Vukmir race, it was 2.657.
So which race had more votes?
So the Tammy Baldwin race had more votes than but only by 642 compared to 657.
Get a precision number. So let's use our calculators. What's the difference?
642 to 65742, called 15,000, 16,000 votes.
Okay, so there was an undervote, which is not completely unexpected, right? Maybe you like the top of the ticket. Let's call that the Senate race in the state of Wisconsin. You like the senator, but maybe you just didn't pay attention. You're a good Republican from Waukesha County. But who's that Schimmel guy? I forget. How about that Josh Kaul? Oh, I don't know him either. I'm not going to vote in that race, right? That's happened sometimes. Presidential, certainly in presidential elections, we see top of the ticket with substantially more votes, and then as people get down, and I'm also guilty.
When I get down to some
local race for dog catcher, I usually write in Tom.
I've never get elected, though.
But I always vote the big ticket races, right? State government, federal government. I know those races well. I'm never not going to vote in those races, but let's presume there are some that don't know those races quite as well. Here's the one thing that I find mathematically troubling. Sarah Godlewski, the treasurer of the state of Wisconsin, do you see how many votes she got in relationship to Tony Evers?
No.
1,324,110 votes. Tony Evers got 1,324,307 votes. So the differential from the top of the ticket, from the gubernatorial race, even, setting aside that the senatorial race, let's say it's Tony, the drop-off is less than 200 votes in a treasurer's race. And then you look and compare the treasurer's vote tally against the attorney general's race. And no doubt, Sarah Godlewski, a very compelling candidate, liked her quite a bit. Had some really cool commercials. She's getting that quarterback from the kid. Hey, where's my quarter? Watching the nickels and the dimes.
Has some ideas on what to do with that office versus the Republicans.
But the Republican still got quite a few votes, Dom. And there was actually two alternatives, if I remember correctly. And cumulatively, they got quite a few votes as well. And here is what I would take note of, Dom. Josh Kaul, Brad Schimmel, and a guy named Terry Larson from the Constitutional Party, who got 47,000 votes in the Attorney General race. If my simple math is right, Dom, there are more votes in the Attorney General race than I count in the governor's race. And
that's not what I'm saying, but go ahead.
If you add those three numbers.
I'm looking at the total votes from Ballotpedia for the Evers race was 2,673,308. 2,673,308. The AG race, 2,642,851. Again, from Ballotpedia. I don't know where you're getting your numbers from. So from what I'm seeing, there were.
What's the differential there? I'm sorry, 2,642,000 in the AG race. You said, and that's
correct.
Inclusive of all votes cast.
Correct.
And how many in the gubernatorial race?
2,673,000. So we're talking about what? 42, 52, 62, 72, 31,000 more votes cast in the gubernatorial race than there was for the AG race, according to Ballotpedia.
Approximately, again, the margin of victory.
Right. Seems to be coming back around to that 30,000-ish number.
Sarah Godlewski only saw about 200 votes drop off from the governor's race. I mean, that's a hell of an effective treasurer's race.
Yeah.
And we saw 148,000 vote drop off from Tammy Baldwin to Tony Evers. And I guess I find this math a little bit interesting, a little bit perplexing. I'm not saying it's indicative of anything, but I don't think it's completely random. If you were, a conspiratorial sort like I am, if you were, just throwing out there a Friday grievance, let's say, I would wonder how in the hell is it that the top of the ticket, the gubernatorial race, how is it that the Democrat got 148,000 votes less than Tammy Baldwin did? How the the treasurer's race, how Sarah Godlewski basically matched the governor vote for vote.
That's amazing.
And got more votes in cumulative than the new attorney general did. That doesn't make sense. When you talk about the normal drop-off from the top of the ticket down the ticket, each race I would expect less and less votes. And I was wrong, and I'll admit if I'm wrong. It seems like I was mathematically slightly wrong on the attorney general's race. Some drop-off from the Evers race to the attorney general's race. But how in the world is it if someone's even a straight dim voter, they vote for Tammy, they vote for Evers, they vote for Godlewski, they vote for Josh Kaul? That makes sense. But there's no drop-off effectively between the governor's race and the state treasurer's race. But both candidates received 150,000 less votes effectively than Tammy Baldwin did. I just don't understand it. It's confusing to me how that happened mathematically. I'm not saying it's indicative of
Well, the
anything.
only answer is split ticket, right? I mean, how
many
this?
people in this state of Wisconsin, if Tammy got 148,000 more votes than Tony Evers, what you're telling me is there's like 110,000 Tammy Baldwin Scott Walker voters in the state of Wisconsin? Because it doesn't make sense mathematically otherwise. I mean, look at Walker's overvote. Walker got 110,000 more votes than Leah Buchmer did. And Tammy Baldwin got 148,000 more votes than Tony Evers did. So we've got 100,000 Tammy voters that then went and voted down the Republican ticket? Because otherwise, where's that differential in votes go?
It's too much math on a Friday, man.
It is.
I have no
I don't
idea.
mean to make my brain hurt or yours,
No,
but I've
but
never quite understood how that margin of differential could be so great in the Baldwin race. Good candidate, no doubt. Leah Buchmer, not a strong candidate.
But I would say this. If you look at the total vote cast, according to Ballotpedia, Evers, 2.673 million. Then we have, going down the list, 2.657 total votes cast. And I guess that would be for the Baldwin. That's for the senatorial race.
So say how many for Evers?
Evers was 2,673,000.
So less people. Clearly, there were more votes at
Total
the
votes.
quote-unquote top of the ticket, the gubernatorial race, than the senatorial race.
Yes.
Yet somehow Tammy Baldwin garnered 150,000 more votes. Leah Buchmer got 110,000 less. And Scott Walker picked up that differential of 110,000 votes. And Neil Albrecht delivered, late, the night of the election, delivered the margin of error. It's almost like, if you're going to make a really close election come down to the wire, and you did know that the Democrats or the Milwaukee County guy was holding on to some votes, but you want it close enough for a recount, and then maybe someone from, let's call it Brookfield or Waukesha County starts,
wrong.
The voting tabulations from Brookfield I got at my house, I was wrong by like 11,000 votes.
Oops. 47,000 absentee ballots in Milwaukee turned over late. Perhaps too late for any shenanigans that were already done by the...
Delivering a margin of victory of 31,000 votes. Because effectively, outside of those late absentee ballots that came in, Scott Walker and Tony Evers were in a virtual tie.
Absolutely.
Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. Make your brain hurt on a Friday afternoon.
Sorry
Don't think too
about
hard.
that.
844-967-2789. I'm just wondering. I just do math. It makes me wonder.
Hey, there's something awfully screwy going on around here.
Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
No, I'm not going to join a cult.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Tune in for special Labor Fest coverage on WRRD and Talk 92.7 FM Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, live from the Summerfest grounds. Earl Ingram Jr. will be broadcasting noon to 3 p.m., bringing exclusive interviews with brothers and sisters in labor, local union leadership, and Wisconsin politicians. Exclusive noon to 3 Labor Fest broadcast sponsored by the Milwaukee Area Labor Council and its affiliated members and our friends at Teamsters Local 344 and Teamsters Local 200. Only on WRRD 1510 AM, WTTN 1580 AM, and Talk 92.7 FM.
Amalgamated Transit Union Local 998 is made up of the drivers and mechanics, professionals in Milwaukee. We keep the buses running all night long and all over the city. I'm one of them. After more than 20 years, I have seen it all, from bad drivers to hostile passengers. Just last week, one of my coworkers had a gun pulled on her. Enough is enough. We get Milwaukee to work. We get them home again. Our working conditions are your safety conditions, and we need help to provide improved safety and security for drivers and passengers. Call Chris Aberly at 414-278-4338 and tell him to stand with ATU 998. Make safety and a fair contract a priority.
This message paid for by ATU Local 998.
When they go low, we get high. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. We stream this fine product on the social medias, on YouTube, on Facebook. Hell, we're even streaming on Twitter right now as well. But you can join us on the phones the old-fashioned way at 844-967-2789.
Dom, I just want to review my back-of-the-envelope math. Even in the Sarah Godlewski, even in the state treasurer's race, and I got to tell you, Dom, 1.324 million votes for state treasurer. I got to think Sarah Godlewski got more frickin' votes than any state treasurer candidate in the history of Wisconsin. But her opponents combined 1.275 million votes. So again, here's the back of the envelope math. Tammy Baldwin got just under 1.5 million votes as the senator. Leah Vukmer got under 1.2 million votes. But Scott Walker, at least amongst the Republicans, got the most votes. More than Schimmel, a lot more than Leah Vukmer, and more than the combined number for the two other candidates. But here's the part that's perplexing. If Walker got 1.295 million votes, and Schimmel got 1.288 million, only about 7,000 vote differential. And Sarah Godlewski's two opponents got 1.275 million votes. And we go back to that senatorial race, and you realize Tammy Baldwin captured 148,605 more votes than Tony Evers did. About 148,800 more than Sarah Godlewski got. And then, I didn't do the math on the lower race, the Attorney General Josh Kaul. But those people would have had to vote for Tammy Baldwin. And then, mathematically speaking, that 110,000 vote differential from Leah Vukmer to Scott Walker means somebody 110,000 somebodies would have had to effectively vote for Tammy Baldwin and at minimum vote for Scott Walker, and probably at nearly the same mathematical ratio, vote Baldwin, Walker, Schimmel, and someone other than Godlewski for the treasurer.
The other two candidates.
That doesn't make any mathematical sense to me.
Well, it makes mathematical sense. It doesn't make any logical sense.
It doesn't make, electoral. The electoral
why would
logic.
you vote for Tammy Baldwin, and why would you at the same time vote for Scott Walker and Schimmel?
I don't see how you're a Tammy Baldwin, Scott Walker, Brad Schimmel voter, and 110,000 of them, about 10% of the overall electorate. 10% of the electorate were Baldwin Walker voters.
Well,
maybe not quite 10%, but still a substantial number.
But
110,000
compared to the assumption that if you vote for a Dem or a Republican, that you stay in that lane the whole time, and obviously that's not the case either, right? That means there's over 90% of people did go straight ballot.
I need someone with better mathematical skills, man.
844-967-2789. Thinking too hard, man. Just thinking too hard.
But someone just has to look at the math, and it makes your brain hurt because it doesn't make sense. And I love Tammy Baldwin, no doubt. She was a strong candidate. They had a better plan. They had a lot more resources. But Tammy Baldwin was under attack for nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, there was more money that came in against her than nearly any senatorial race in the entire nation. Between Kevin Nichols's sugar daddies and Leah Vukmer's sugar mamas and daddies, I mean, there were millions of dollars spent, a lot of it in opposition to Tammy Baldwin before she ever came to the ballot box.
We should make, I hereby order all Scott Walker, Tammy Baldwin voters to call us up.
I mean, if there's 110,000 of them in the state of Wisconsin, somebody, you got to be political enough, reasonable enough, open-minded enough that you're listening to the show right now. There's got to be at least a couple of you, mathematically speaking. There's got to be some in the sample audience, or this math makes no sense. And I'm not saying this is a scientific poll, but if you voted for Scott Walker and Tammy Baldwin, please call. There's something good in it for you.
Yeah? Really good. A lot of people are talking about it. You'll be so surprised.
844-967-2789. All you Baldwin Walker voters, you go to the top of the list.
Want to be more presidential? Tweet the Devil's Advocates at Devil Radio.
This is Dom from the Devil's Advocates. You know, in the 7 years that Crudy and I have been doing the show, we have never had a more engaged, dialed in, and motivated audience, and we love them for it. Now is the time for you to reach the greatest audience ever. Call now, advertise with the Devil's Advocates and Real Resistance Radio. Market your products or services, get your message out, join the resistance. Call us at 414-635-0872. That's 414-635-0872, or go to realresistanceradio.com. All right, well, what does your church tell you about when people say that they're the second coming of God? My reason tells me the man is certifiable. I want your opinion, Gary.
I would say anybody who comes back and says that, I would say he would be the Antichrist.
I am the chosen one.
So Trump is the Antichrist then, Gary, by that logic?
No, I'm not saying he is, but I'm
But
saying
he said he's the chosen one.
I am the chosen one.
Gary, by your biblical logic, Donald Trump is the Antichrist.
Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and my family owns Madison Liquidators. We've officially moved into our new space off Pleasant View Road in Middleton, and we're excited to announce that Madison Liquidators is now Dane County's premier dealer for Groupe Lacoste. In addition to their unbeatable 25-year warranty, Groupe Lacoste has 10 lines to choose from, ranging from traditional to ultra-modern, all available in 18 different finishes. Give me a call and let's make a plan for your space, or go online to madisonliquidators.com and shop our complete inventory of used office furniture.
Got unwanted pests in your home or business? Call Get Rid Pest Control at 414-368-0696. State licensed and certified with over 20 years experience, Get Rid Pest Control guarantees their work in the removal of common household pests, including mice, rats, ants, roaches, spiders, centipedes, and bedbugs. Humane trapping and removal of larger pests as well. Unmarked vehicles available upon request. 24-hour emergency service available. Call Get Rid Pest Control today for your free estimate. 414-368-0696. If you got it, we'll get it.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, it's my job to make sure your network is up 99.999% of the time. Technology is constantly evolving, and keeping your business up to date in an ever-changing environment can be a hassle. At Five Nines, we're here to help. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. Better IT gives your business a competitive advantage. Learn how Five Nines can help at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
For WRD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. An orthopedic surgeon from Milwaukee, Dr. Thomas Parisi, and a patient from Mississippi, Donna Ferguson, rendezvoused in Cancun for a knee replacement surgery in a private Mexican hospital. The American medical system expenses were so high that traveling outside of the country became more cost-effective than a stateside surgery, despite the patient receiving health coverage through her husband's employer. Brewers were off yesterday, start a series at home tonight against the Diamondbacks. The Packers lost the preseason game to the Raiders in a shortened field in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, 22-21. Highs today in the low to mid-70s with partly cloudy skies, overnight low of 52 in Madison and 63 in Milwaukee. You're listening to WRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's Political Talk.
Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. My grievance, I've been doing math on the radio.
Don't do that.
It's Friday afternoon. Here's my final thought, then we're getting to the phones.
I hereby order no more math on the radio.
No, one more thought. And then the phones at 844-967-2789. From the top of the ticket, from the most votes cast, and in the case of the Wisconsin midterms, the most votes cast were technically in the gubernatorial race.
If you added all the votes up for every candidate, all parties.
And the least votes cast in the 4 major races was in the treasurer's race.
Correct.
Although Sarah Godlewski earned within 200 votes of the very same number that Tony Evers earned.
Correct.
But let's assume some Republicans, they didn't even believe in the treasurer's office. So they didn't vote down ticket. And the differential between the highest vote total in cumulative votes and the lowest vote total, the treasurer's race, about 70,000 votes.
Yes.
But Scott Walker did 110,000 votes better than Leah Vukmir, had the highest vote total in every Republican race. Of all the Republicans, Senate, Treasurer, AG's race, Walker had the most. And the only logical conclusion I could have is even if you took the 110,000 differential and maybe they're the same people, the Baldwin, Walker voters, and then undervotes down the ticket, you still got at least, like a 40,000 differential, even if it's a perfect Venn diagram. And Kutch could tweeted this out. What's with all the numbers, boys? Just throw it on a Venn diagram and be done with it already. But my only conclusion, Dom, Tammy Baldwin must have perpetrated massive voter fraud.
Come on.
No, that's probably not the logical conclusion. The logical conclusion is there's no really, really logical explanation for the 40,000 to 110,000 Tammy Baldwin, Scott Walker voters, unless they're all lining up to call us right now and say, you're wrong, Crudy. And I'm very seldom wrong. And I don't see any Tammy Baldwin, Scott Walker voters, unless we're talking about Wisco Paul.
Wisco Paul, you're up. 844-967-2789. Welcome. Happy Friday. What do you got for us today?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, happy Friday. No chance on Walker. No chance.
Right.
Tammy, yes, Tammy's great. Tammy's a great senator. That's why she gets so many votes. You know, and
and she is a great senator, but what would explain the Venn diagram overlap? Mathematically, theoretically, there's got to be like 100,000 plus Tammy Baldwin voters that would have voted for Scott Walker to make the columns add up. How would you explain that, Paul?
Because the GOP is plain evil, I'd say. They are evil people that don't like to lose. Between voter suppression in the inner cities, who knows about the vote? Hey, take a look, Crudy, back. I don't know what the Supreme Court race. Look what Waukesha County did. You can't tell me that isn't just a mess. The lady waits till the last minute to turn the votes in. I mean, so.
Oh, you're talking about the Kloppenberg-Prosser. Yeah, we were referencing that.
Yeah, that's correct.
If you looked, if one was conspiratorial, Paul, and one said, you know, what could possibly explain this? Assuming the Republicans didn't know Neil Albrecht was going to drop those absentee votes late, and they just happened to be the differential of victory for Tony Evers, what if all you're trying to do is either get to a recount or push the numbers just close enough that, let's say, Kathy Nicholas could, you know, show up with her Christmas bag full of votes from Brookfield?
That's correct. The GOP is evil. Hey, I had a grievance, okay?
All right, man.
Paul's just ready to accept it and move on. Please do then, Paul.
Yeah. Well, they're just, you know, they're evil people. They don't want people to vote. I don't know. I don't have an answer for it, but I do have a grievance for you today, and that is, please go away, Scott Hall. Just go away. He drove the state in the dirt, and he is totally corrupt. I don't know how he never ended up in jail. And it's going to take years to fix your mess. So don't be like Trump. Just put your Twitter or Tweeter or whatever it is away. I'm just sick of hearing from this guy. Go to Washington and just get out of the state. The sooner the better. That's my grievance for today. Good old Scott Hall.
Paul, I hear he's got gainful employment lined up in like February of 2021 and a girlfriend in the Niagara Falls region.
Oh, the man was just a horrible governor. Hey, you know, one last thing I will say. If Pumpkinhead doesn't put down his Twitter account, he's going to do it himself. He's going to tweet this country right into a recession, and not a little recession, a big-time recession. You're dealing with China guy, you know. You're not dealing with Hillary. So, hey, with that, you guys have a great weekend, and adios.
Adios, amigo.
Paul, appreciate it, man.
You know, Trump's tweeting out where the real blame belongs. It's either, you know, the Chinese premier, Xi, or, of course, his own Fed chair, Powell.
Who's the bigger enemy?
Who is the bigger enemy of the state?
This man, it's unbelievable.
I hereby order all patriotic Americans to call the Devil's Advocates radio show at 844-967-2789, and I'll move on. But if you just happen to be someone that voted for Scott Walker and Tammy Baldwin, because I want to understand the math, the calculation, the triangulation in your head, I'll award you. There'll be a modest prize of some sort of free bumper sticker, a date with Dom, something of very little intrinsic value, but there will be a gift.
Cody's
just call.
Pimping me out over here. George Conway tweeted out today, of course, Kellyanne Conway's husband, I hereby order the White House staff to take Donald Trump to Walter Reed and to convene the cabinet under Section 4 of the 25th Amendment. Hashtag I hereby order.
You can leave right now.
I hereby order. 844-967-2789. I hereby order Dom to take Mark from the Sax.
Hey, Mark, what do you got for us today?
It's a deep, dark place that somebody would have to go to vote for Scott Walker anymore. I mean, it's just a room I'd just as soon not enter.
But Mark, he's the R, man. You know, he's the R. He's the Republican. I'm not going to vote for any of those liberals out there.
was an R.
it's just, it just the disaster that he has left the state. Wisco Paul got it right. I mean, the disaster that he handed our state is just something that's going to take decades to fix.
Paul, he is out there on Fox News writing what a success story Wisconsin is and encouraging other states to, cut more taxes to encourage growth in the economy. Literally yesterday on Fox News online.
And then borrow more money and claim you fix the deficit. I mean, it is just it's ridiculous. I mean I'm a strong liberal, but I'm also fiscally conservative because sometimes you have to tax to do the stuff the state needs to do this. Sometimes it's wise to spend money because it's going to be more cost effective in the long run.
Sure.
I mean, you repair your infrastructure now. Well, now it's just disastrous. But I mean, if you maintain your infrastructure, you don't have the disastrous consequences of failing infrastructure that we have in this state.
Now you're starting to sound like Wisco Paul, Mark. Appreciate the call. Have a wonderful weekend. Real quick, though, a thought. You remember when Scott Walker would wrap himself in the Packer flag? He's always analogizing. He's the quarterback of the state. He's our Aaron Rodgers. And under Scott Walker's governance, it reminded me a lot of last night's preseason game.
Yeah.
He always wanted to play on a short field. And the infrastructure, the turf, well, it just wasn't suitable for play, much like the roads in the state of Wisconsin.
Nice.
Full of Scott holes.
I like it. It works.
Oh, that one works?
Yeah,
Good.
it does.
That's a first.
844-967-2789.
I'll let you know when your first analogy works.
Kevin, welcome back, Kevin. What do you got for us today?
Hey, buddy.
Well, there is, if you went strictly off the commercials, this is how it happened. You've seen those commercials that were talking about Tony Evers and how he let those child predator teachers back in the classroom. And see, what that happened is because we voted for Trump, and Trump's a predator, so it kind of pulled some of those Republicans away. But the big one was, I only saw this commercial once. Tammy Baldwin said she owned a gun. So right then and there, that gave a bunch of Republicans, man, I got to vote for that woman. And Leah Vukmir said she came from a family of immigrants, and Republicans hate immigrants, so that just blew that race right out of the water.
Wow.
She gave it all to Tammy Baldwin.
So it was gun-loving, anti-immigrant
Republicans,
Walker Baldwin voters that cast the decisive 110,000 votes. I mean, I believe that theory on a mathematically small sample, let's say, Kevin. But how do you extrapolate it 110,000 times?
I've talked this. I do heating and air conditioning in a lot of people's houses. Nobody has the answer. It doesn't make any sense.
Have you met, Kevin, anybody who voted for Scott Walker and Tammy Baldwin?
I got some customers that are Republican, and I just kind of don't say anything.
Sure, and I can get that, but this would be someone who voted for both parties, though, right?
Right. Do I have any of those customers?
Like I stand with Walker bumper sticker on one bumper and Tammy Forever on the other.
No, I have yet to see something like that.
Right.
Well, that's my point, Kevin. And that's why I did this futile mathematical exercise, because we'll never know. Buddy, have a great weekend. And don't forget, I hope you drop my Packer tickets off. Going to next week's preseason game. I hope they play in a 100-yard field.
Oh, that would be an ideal. That's the strangest thing.
80-yard field, big divot where they took out the goalpost. And then you got to remember, like when you're on the 10-yard line, that's really the end zone. But if you cross the goal line, now you're out of bounds.
And then there were some injuries as well, right?
Yeah, there were a few.
The field was so bad.
Apparently, the Packers benched their starters, much as you bench your best ideas till like Friday.
I'm all out of them, man. I'm about ready to call it.
I just figured you're a game day guy. Just waiting for game day.
Yeah, I don't need to practice. I'll just show up on the field. We're ready to roll.
You're like Broadway Dom, Brady Dom Salvia. Stroll up like a gunslinger on what?
Namath?
Friday, Saturday.
In my mink overcoat?
Yeah. I saw a replay of Stephen Colbert the other day. He was wearing a mink, and he brought one for Stephen Colbert to wear during the show. But here's what you do have in common with Broadway Joe.
What's that?
Brady Street Dom. You guys both wear sunglasses indoors, often at night. You're like Corey Hart in that way.
Got sensitive eyes, man. It's a little bright in here right now.
Your pupils do seem just a skosh dilated.
Nah, not yet.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. It's Friday. We air grievances. You got any? How about that Packer game last night? That was less entertaining. I was very confused. You know, if you can't tell me what yard line my team's really on,
I'm not watching.
I'm not doing the heavy math.
No.
I mean, that's my entertainment. That's like heavy lifting, trying to figure out what yard line they were on. And then when that field goal at the end went through, I'm just thinking, typical Packers. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, more of your phone calls as well. 844-967-2789.
If I had one wish that I could wish this holiday season,
Beautiful, clean coal.
if I had two wishes that I could make this holiday season,
Too fast, too furious.
if I had three wishes that I could make this holiday season,
Wouldn't it be nice if we actually got along, as an example, with Russia? I'm all for it.
if I had four wishes that I could make this holiday season,
For China.
All I want to do is be able to watch.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Tune in for special Labor Fest coverage on WRRD and Talk 92.7 FM Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, live from the Summerfest grounds. Earl Ingram Jr. will be broadcasting noon to 3 p.m., bringing exclusive interviews with brothers and sisters in labor, local union leadership, and Wisconsin politicians. Exclusive noon to 3 Labor Fest broadcast sponsored by the Milwaukee Area Labor Council and its affiliated members and our friends at Teamsters Local 344 and Teamsters Local 200. Only on WRRD 1510 AM, WTTN 1580 AM, and Talk 92.7 FM.
We the people, the hardworking 99% of men and women, only have a voice when we join together as one and amplify our message. Now is the time for all Wisconsinites to join We the People and raise our voices. Do you feel like you are wasting your money funding unaccountable consultants, unresponsive candidates, and their campaigns? Help us do something that really matters. Please join We the People. Give what you can so we can support progressive radio stations like this one using the public airwaves to educate Wisconsin about what we the people want for our state and remind Wisconsin's politicians that they work for us. Your donations to We the People at p4ppc.org, a registered, compliant IRS 501c3, will always be tax deductible, will always remain anonymous, and We the People pledge to spend 100% of donations educating Wisconsin on the issues our donors want discussed, giving individuals a voice in the collective message of We the People. Please give today at p4ppc.org. That's p4ppc.org. We the people need you.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can hit us up on the phones at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I am looking forward to some football. I'm going to a game tonight, high school game, I think. Middleton, where my son is a sophomore, will be a newly minted sophomore soon. Play Madison East, I believe, at Bree Stevens Field. I'm looking forward to driving back and catching that game. And then my youngest got a big 8th grade grudge match tomorrow morning.
Ooh.
Like 10:30. It's also a Good Neighbor Fest in Middleton, so I guess that's the kickoff. Well, you know, beer tent tonight, but football in the morning.
And you're going?
To the 8th grade game, yes.
I thought it was the Good Neighbor Fest.
Well, I'm an excellent neighbor.
Just ask
to the
you?
neighbors on the right.
Yeah.
Less so to the neighbors on the left. They are less than good neighbors to me. But football season, I can't wait. Here's the disappointing part. If you went all the way to Winnipeg for a football game last night on an 80-yard field without sensible goal post and very confusing yard markers, and apparently the end zone's like between the 10 and the goal.
And no starters.
And no starters. That's the grievance. No starters. Now, as people may have heard me say, I have the good fortune that I've got Kevin's tickets. Kevin, the recent caller, his family has some Packer tickets, and I asked in advance, hey, can I get a game for my son? And this weekend's Thursday, I think, the Chiefs. Chiefs coming to Lambeau. The end of the preseason. I mean, the kids haven't even started school. They've got football season starting. But if there's no starters, man, then can I blame that on Kevin?
For the preseason
Do I get
game?
cheaper tickets? Are they taking a little something off for the effort if there's no starters out there?
Don't they usually not play the starters on the last game?
I know, but the starters haven't...
They haven't really played a lot.
Has Aaron Rodgers hit the field this year yet?
No, man. He had a fine Canadian tuxedo, though.
What's that, denim?
Yeah. And that
And a mustache, too,
And the
yeah.
mustache. Brian, you know all
He's going
about
to talk
that.
like this because this is how people talk when they have mustaches.
You know, I do have something of a stash and a Fu Man, and you and Dom, you guys can grow a mustache overnight. Dom, you wake up every morning with like a 5 o'clock shadow, don't you?
I don't use a razor much these days.
Do you shave twice a day?
No. No, come on, man. No. It's
Once a week?
No, not even.
Month?
I use the clippers, man. 844-967-2789. Let's not talk about my grooming habits, and trust me, it takes a long time to look this good.
How many haircuts do you get a year?
Not a lot. Steph would like me to have more. Roger from Cottage Grove, you're up. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us?
Hey, Roger.
Hey, I decree that all Republicans will take Economics 201 at UW-Madison to bring back my tax money to fix the clickety-clack roads full of Scott holes, Boss holes, and Fitzgerald holes.
Only
That's
if
my
you
decree.
will go to a Ben Shapiro concert, quote unquote, at UW and not boo and not protest, or you'll get thrown out of school, young man.
Now, Roger, I appreciate what you're saying, but
I still remember that my keyword was Applebee after the Kent State protest, and school ended like a quarter early. And years later, like 20 years later, I ran into one of my affinity group members.
Roger, you suggested that you decreed, you hereby ordered, like Trump did today, Republicans to take Economics 201. But wouldn't that assume they passed 101?
You would assume that they got into college and they sat down there and they studied basic math. Like if someone gives you a 90% refund, you take it versus 60%, which they're refusing, of course, in the state of Wisconsin. So therefore, they have no money to fix the roads. So I'm driving from Middleton to the shoebox to get a great deal.
Yeah, but that'd be socialism, though, Roger.
Roger, you're implying they should take those billions of federal Medicaid expansion dollars instead of leaving them on the table, even though we fund about a third of our state government with federal dollars, and even though our current Medicaid reimbursement rates are like 59%, yet every Republican's been telling us since Obamacare passed, no, we can't do that because they might run out of money. Those Republicans, math you're talking about?
Fiscal grief, though. I do have fiscal grief. For Medicare Advantage, I pay $40 a month. I have a friend who's on state retirement, and out of their sick leave, they pay $350 to $400 a month for their Medicare supplement. Does that make any sense? It's insanity.
Well, I appreciate the call, sir. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm still in the private insurance market, currently co-bred from my former employment, Dom/company. So I don't know, man. Mine's a hell of a lot more than that. And I'm not less than empathetic to those on Medicare that are supposed to expend, $5,000 a year in co-pays for supplemental. And it makes me feel the burn, Dom.
Crudy, real quick, breaking news. Want to throw this one out there.
Oh, break it for us.
ABC News, I believe, is reporting here. After China announced a new round of retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods on Friday, President Trump struck back later in the day by raising the rate of U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods. The president said in a series of tweets that $250 billion in Chinese goods currently tariffed at a rate of 25% will increase to 30% beginning October 1st. The remaining $300 billion in goods set to see a 10% tariff on September 1 will now be taxed crudy at 15%. So a 5% increase on tariffs across the board.
My kids ain't getting any Chinese-made junk for Christmas this year.
Well, of course not, because didn't you hear Donald Trump has hereby ordered all U.S. companies to no longer, use China.
What's Walmart going to do? What's Trump brand going to do? Ivanka.
Those poor white people are going to have to buy their hats for more money.
What?
The MAGA hats, aren't they made in China as well?
Also made in China. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Really, even now? I know somewhere at the beginning, but even now, those are still made in China?
I haven't followed the
MAGA hat
infrastructure trail of the MAGA hats. But if there's a deal to be had, don't you suspect he's still making them in China? He meant other people.
Yeah.
I hereby order other people to stop doing business in China.
I think he said the awesome, wonderful businesses. And, of course, that does not include his 844-967-2789. Brock from HorrorCon, you're up. Happy Friday, my friend. What do you got?
Word up, Brock.
Wow. Word to your mother, homeboy. Anyhow, so you mean like you passed new tariffs and the Senate voted and the House came up with an idea and it went through the rigmarole and now it's going to be a actual law?
Yeah, very
just like be a tweet.
Well-conceived legislation with public hearings and lots of input. We considered it, and it was
like
thoughtful negotiations. And when they broke down, then and only then did Trump opt for tariffs. Or, that would be the normalized way of doing it.
Right, I was going to say, holy cow, you are on some good stuff on Friday. I want to whatever you're
Friday high day, baby.
You're on Crudy. I'll take 2 and Dom will take 3, probably. I just wonder where all these constitutional, fiscal BS conservatives went to. They vanished. Boy, I don't know, like a chocolate cake at a birthday party. As soon as we had, and they keep trying to derail this Obama administration signature accomplishment, of which the Republicans will never have. You would think they'd add to it and hop on the Obama cart and make themselves look as good as possible, but it's really not even about doing the right thing, following the Constitution, this, that, and the other. It's about getting as much money as they can for themselves from Russia and from, the NRA, also Russia, and Saudi Arabia, and then just doing whatever is in the worst interest of the constituents, unless you're big pharma or like in Wisconsin, big agriculture. It's the only state I've ever seen where you can lose dairy farms and gain agricultural investment. Geez, I wonder how that's happening.
Brock, really appreciate the call. Have a great weekend, buddy. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. It's the Friday Happy Hour. Dom's finally going to smile. The meanest curd in radio is finally happy. The happy hour, it commences right now.
If politics is boring, you're doing it wrong. Check out more at domandcroot.com.
Just sit back, close your eyes, and
RELAX.
Al-Qaeda!
Amalgamated Transit Union Local 998 is made up of the drivers and mechanics, professionals in Milwaukee. We keep the buses running all night long and all over the city. I'm one of them. After more than 20 years, I have seen it all, from bad drivers to hostile passengers. Just last week, one of my coworkers had a gun pulled on her. Enough is enough. We get Milwaukee to work. We get them home again. Our working conditions are your safety conditions, and we need help to provide improved safety and security for drivers and passengers. Call Chris Aberly at 414-278-4338 and tell him to stand with ATU 998. Make safety and a fair contract a priority.
This message paid for by ATU Local 998.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
Tweet fallout, missile response. I'm Barbara Cusack.
The power of a tweet in clear view as Wall Street took a dive following President Trump's China tweet today.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 623 points, or 2.4%. There were similar losses with the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq was down around 3%. Investors started selling off stocks at an accelerated rate after President Trump wrote on Twitter that he was ordering U.S. companies to look for alternatives to China.
And correspondent Steve Kastenbaum adds that Trump's words were in response to China saying it's raising tariffs on $75 billion worth of U.S. goods. And that led to more tweet retaliation from Trump after the bell.
Starting on October 1st, the $250 billion of goods and products from China currently being taxed at 25% will be taxed at 30%. Additionally, the remaining $300 billion of goods and products from China that was being taxed from September 1st at 10% will now be taxed at 15%. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Bob Costantini, Washington.
And concerned about seeing a further deterioration of U.S.-China relations, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce urged the Trump administration and Beijing to return to the negotiating table. Correspondent Frederick Pleitgen reports Russian President Vladimir Putin vowed a tit-for-tat response to a U.S. missile test that came about after the U.S. withdrew from the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty.
Now, it's unclear whether or not that means that he's actually going to deploy new medium-range weapons in the not-too-distant future, but it certainly seems, judging by his body language, judging by how angry he was today, that we could be one step closer to a new nuclear arms race between the U.S. and Russia.
Supporters of Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement lined city streets and part of the city's Harbor Front today. Some protesters raised linked hands while others used smartphone lights to create a display against the nighttime skyline. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Hey guys, this is Maggie Dawn, host of Dawn of the Resistance, live Thursdays and Fridays from 6 to 7 p.m. Starting August 22nd, I'm going to be joined in studio with Dr. Fran Kaplan and Reggie Jackson, Executive Director of America's Black Holocaust Museum, to do 6 shows about race in America. On August 22nd and 23rd, we're going to talk about the history you never learned, facts about race in America. On August 29th and 30th, we're going to talk about why we think the way we do, unpacking implicit bias. Last, on September 5th and 6th, we're going to talk about why what we say and what we do matters. Getting woke, staying woke, and doing woke things. So white folks, you got questions you've never asked? Write them down, tune in, and call in starting August 22nd through September 6th on Dawn of the Resistance on WRRD 1510 AM, always streaming live at newstalk1510am.com.
A Twitter battle has far from subsided as President Trump continues his fight to block people from his Twitter feed.
The Justice Department has filed court papers seeking a rehearing by the Second U.S. Court of Appeals, who ruled last month it's a violation of the First Amendment for a public official who utilizes social media to exclude people who express views with which the official disagrees. The papers filed late Friday call the decision fundamentally misconceived. President Trump has more than 63 million followers on Twitter and often uses his account to make significant announcements. Carrie Shoemaker, Washington.
A Chicago judge named a special prosecutor to look into why state prosecutors abruptly dropped charges against Jussie Smollett. The former Empire actor had been accused of staging a racist, anti-gay attack against himself and lying about it to investigators. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Does your dog...
We the people, the hardworking 99% of men and women, only have a voice when we join together as one and amplify our message. Now is the time for all Wisconsinites to join We the People and raise our voices. Do you feel like you are wasting your money funding unaccountable consultants, unresponsive candidates, and their campaigns? Help us do something that really matters. Please join We the People. Give what you can so we can support progressive radio stations like this one, using the public airwaves to educate Wisconsin about what we the people want for our state and remind Wisconsin's politicians that they work for us. Your donations to We the People at p4ppc.org, a registered, compliant IRS 501c3, will always be tax deductible, will always remain anonymous, and We the People pledge to spend 100% of donations educating Wisconsin on the issues our donors want discussed, giving individuals a voice in the collective message of We the People. Please give today at p4ppc.org. That's p4ppc.org. We the People need you.
For WRRD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. Milwaukee police have detained a man suspected of making threats against Mexican Fiesta to be held this weekend at Summerfest grounds. Wisconsin's Hispanic Scholarship Foundation President Ruben Burgos is encouraging people to attend the festival and that there is no credible threat against the fest. Last weekend, there were armed police in tactical gear patrolling the grounds during Irish Fest, despite no threats being made public. Highs today in the low to mid-70s with partly cloudy skies. Overnight low of 52 in Madison, 63 in Milwaukee. Saturday highs in the mid-70s with Sunday highs in the mid-70s and partly cloudy skies. You're listening to WRRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's Political Talk.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic sliding into the Friday 5 o'clock happy hour. Woo-hoo! Thank God it's here. Finally. And we're going to have a good time, especially if you call us at 844-967-2789. We know you're there, Dan. Just be patient. We're going to line up a few more callers. But Dan Bice has got a new column just dropped, Dom. The hotel assignments for the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, well, they've dropped, and Dan apparently is taking about writing up the winners. And you're all winners for listening to this fine program, but also the losers. And that's the guy that's filling in for Belling down the dial today on Whitey Righty Talk Radio. You know, our competition today is the former gubernator.
I wonder what he's talking about.
I think he's
got
only
one
got
guess.
about 3 hours of material in his life.
AOC.
Balancing the budget.
Taxes. Tax breaks.
Post-birth abortion. You know, Democrats are in favor of murder. Or so claimed Scott Walker yesterday on his Twitter stream. Let's get to the winners, like us, the losers, like Walker. Or, as Dan Bice describes it, winners and losers from the DNC's hotel assignments for the Democratic Convention. Dom, why don't you go first?
It's hard to keep everybody happy when putting on an event as big as the 2020 Democratic National Convention in Milwaukee. That's especially true when divvying up hotels to delegates from 57 states and jurisdictions. Here's our quick list of winners and losers from Thursday's news as to where each delegation goes.
Now, Dom, before we jump into the winners and the losers, we have been to the RNC and we've been to the DNC. And when we went to the RNC, we stayed at the same hotel as right-wing talk radio host Vicki McKenna.
Oh, that was the hotel with the drive-in check-in?
And the ant infestation, apparently, in Vicki McKenna's room. Ooh. I would have called that a bad assignment. All in all, hotel room-wise, I mean, we were in the greater metropolitan Cleveland, but not a good assignment.
No, I would agree.
And then when we were in Philadelphia, Dom, we stayed with the Wisconsin contingent. And to her credit, I'll give Martha Lanning credit for this. They threw a hell of a party at the convention.
They did. That was a great time. It was so much fun.
And that final evening after Hillary Clinton accepted the nomination, even better than that, all the free beer they rolled out and just poured on the tables in the lobby of the hotel, right downtown, right across from the public market in Philly. And like 9 hours of partying later when you and Greg Newman were out on the front.
And people were leaving for catch their early flights.
People were literally getting up and leaving the hotel for early flights. And we were saying, Is that all the beer?
Where are you guys going? We're just getting started.
So let's jump into the list and then back to the phones at 844-967-2789. It's Friday. We are grievances. Dan's might be. He's got to wait on the phones a bit longer as we jump into the Dan Bice piece.
Well, Dan Bice is happy we're discussing this. Of course, Dan from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. I continue. In all, 2,926 hotel rooms will be used for delegates in Wisconsin, while 2,841 hotel rooms have been reserved in Illinois.
What?
Winner, says Bice, Illinois. Not only will Illinois delegates stay in a Milwaukee area hotel, but nearly half of the DNC delegates will be paying for Illinois hotel rooms. And the buses and other transportation will be paying those infamous Illinois tolls while ferrying delegates back and forth. Democratic Party of Illinois Vice Chairman Michael said he was thrilled with being given the Milwaukee Marriott West in Waukesha because anything beats a Chicagoland commute. It's great. I mean, it's about 15 miles west of the convention center, 20-minute drive at night, in the morning, 35 minutes during rush hour. Any Chicagoan is used to it, he said.
Who's he?
That's Democratic Party of Illinois Vice Chairman Michael
Cabanargi?
Sure.
Loser, Racine Kenosha. While cities and towns in Milwaukee and Chicago suburbs are housing thousands of delegates in their hotels, Racine and Kenosha were shut out completely. Also overlooked were Sheboygan, Derhay, and Madison, my hometown, one of the state's 2 liberal hubs, the only one that matters to me. Of course, the DNC delegates make up only about 12% of the 50,000 people expected to attend the convention. It's likely in the end that there will be plenty of people, media, donors, activists, and volunteers who will look to those cities to find a place to crash during the convention. Damn, we got an apartment in the back. I'm going to Airbnb that thing. I'm getting rich. We're getting paid, man.
I live like 10 minutes away, man. I'm going home.
Or that's going to be the unofficial DNC party shack of the convention. Here's a quote. Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway. My focus is just on supporting Milwaukee to make sure that the convention is a success for everybody. I'm sure we'll have plenty of folks here in Madison and we'll stand ready to host them. Well, she's more generous than I. That kind of sucks.
Another winner from Dan Bice of the Journal-Sentinel. Virginia. Why Virginia? The winner of the hotel lottery has to be Virginia, whose delegates are staying at the Aloft downtown Milwaukee. Why was this such a prized location? Consider this. The walking distance from Aloft to the Pfizer Forum, home of the convention, checks in at 2 minutes at a stroll.
You'd complain.
It'd probably take me 3. The travel time might be even faster if there was a streetcar near the arena, but alas, that was not meant to be.
Well, mostly because Righty Whitey Talk Radio greatly opposed any expansion of the streetcar, any mass transit whatsoever, especially anything that would make the city of Milwaukee look good for the DNC convention.
Another loser, Crudy.
Are you calling me a loser? Lake County.
Oh.
Lake County, by contrast, delegates from 12 states and the Northern Marianas Islands will be staying in Lake County, Illinois, meaning they're about an hour away from either Milwaukee or Chicago. That doesn't mean these delegates will be totally without entertainment options. Nearby, there are shops in Gertie Mills.
Let's go to the mall?
Who wants to stay at Gertie Mills? And, of course, Six Flags Great America. A little farther away is the Rivers Casino in Des Plaines. You know, Des Plaines, that's where Foxconn flows downstream.
Oh, yeah.
Yet, not everyone is pleased. The Colorado Democratic Party leader sent a statement to Channel 58, saying in part, "We will unfortunately be housed in Gurnee, Illinois. At least it's not Love's Park." Clearly, he is no fan of roller coasters.
Another winner, Crudy, Potawatomi Casino.
A hotel resort casino? Are we staying there?
No. The DNC has reserved nearly 500 rooms at the Potawatomi Hotel for the delegations from New York and Minnesota. Certainly, a few of them will fill their spare time by wandering over to the adjacent Indian Casino. To make it even more like home, the folks from New York can just close their eyes and imagine they're playing slots in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
In one of the former Donald Trump Casino is now bankrupted.
Oh, the good old days.
Another loser, Dom. Our friends at the Democratic National Committee.
Oh, Bice.
Bice says maybe this was the plan all along, to split the state delegations between Wisconsin and Illinois. That's the spin from the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce, our pal president, Tim Sheehy, who said Milwaukee highlighted its proximity to hotels in northern Illinois when it put together its pitch to host the convention. You also have to recognize, here's a quote from Sheehy, you also have to recognize, in part, that's how the bid was won. Still, it would have been a good idea to get this news out to all the delegations and other interested parties instead of waiting for the list of hotels to be leaked to the press.
Oh, is that how it got out?
Apparently someone leaked it to Bice. Bice has better sources than you or I, Dom.
Well, I knew there was a news yesterday on it. Maybe it was Bice's piece. But it is what it is, man. It's coming here. You know, if you gotta come up from Gurney, you know, oh well.
My question, leaked or hacked?
844-967-2789. No hacking going on here. Dan from Beaver Dam, you are up. Thanks for calling today, Dan. What do you got for us?
I'm kind of worried about you two guys. I heard about the death of one of the Koch brothers. I'm calling as an intervention. Make sure you two don't do anything crazy to harm one another in your celebratory. In your commemoration of a fine American. I don't even remember what I'm talking about.
In our grief.
Wow.
You know,
that's
a shame.
Yeah.
The Koch brothers
always only kept him alive. His billions only kept him alive another 30 years after his initial diagnosis. I'm sad.
Money has a tendency to do that sometimes, Dan.
You know, the two...
I see.
Brian, I'm going to need your help on this one. Brian's our resident actor. Brian, who are the actors that were in the Eddie Murphy Coming to America movie? And before that, they were in the Trading Places
with Dan Aykroyd.
Are you talking about Amici and...
Yes, Amici was one of them.
The other guy.
Mortimer.
Betting $1. That
Give
reminds
me
me of the Koch brothers in some way, shape, or form, Dan. You know, those guys, they would wreck a man's life for $1 bet.
Thanks
Wouldn't
for the call,
we all?
Our earlier...
How could you do this to us after everything we've done for you?
Yes. Our earlier guest, Greg Palast, tweeted out looks like a short video clip of his movie where he addresses how the Koch brothers, how some of the ways they got their money. And one of them was basically skimming, 10 barrels off of 100 from...
Kind of like the Coke dealers do it? The cocaine dealers do it?
From the Native Americans in Kansas when they were, paying them back for the oil they were pumping out of the ground. Then he goes into a whole story.
Skimming the till.
Yeah, they were. And then I'm not going to... I believe Bob Dole was involved somehow. They got rid of the prosecutor. Another prosecutor came in.
Bob Dole says Bob Dole would never be involved in stealing money through oil transactions.
I would just say this. I didn't know that particular tidbit until Greg Palast tweeted that out today, and I retweeted it as well. So go check it out. Maybe watch that movie. I'm going to make a point to do so. So, when you hear things like that, robbing people, saying he wants hit what he's due, and the way that he lived his life and the things that he did, apparently, I'm not really, don't feel too bad about the fact that the man has passed. I just got to be honest.
I don't know if we're going out dancing. I'm not celebrating. I'm not dancing on his grave like I did on Scott Walker's political grave there for a moment or a week or a month or two.
I've seen you dance.
Oh, I can shake my ass. You play the right song.
You don't even have an ass to shake. You have the flattest ass I have ever seen on a man.
Are you ass shaming me?
A little bit.
You said that to me. We're talking about people's external looks,
right?
And shaming them,
right.
And you said it doesn't matter who they are. Everyone's got something in a flat ass, and then you looked at me.
Well, but everyone's got something. Now, whether or not it's true, whether or not it applies, is irrelevant to the fact that you can be shamed on anything. You may think you have the finest nose in the world, but someone comes up, wants to rip on you about it, they'll just say that you don't.
Dominic, you might think I have a man bod from the waist up, but I assure you, from the waist down, 22-year-old athletic Stud.
Yeah, you do have a nice set of calves.
I do. Even my wife compliments, my sexy man legs. It's Friday, can you tell? Come back with us, more Devil's Advocates. We're almost done working for the week, especially if you call now at 844-967-2789.
Hi, it's Scott Walker.
Scott, David Koch.
You're going to be dead.
I live in a bigger, more beautiful apartment, and I live in the White House, too, which is really great.
The Packing House, where you can experience the soulful dimensions of Joe Jordan and the Soul Trio every second and fourth Saturday of the month, where you can also enjoy live music 4 nights a week, Wednesday through Saturday, some of the best local talent around. It's never a cover charge. Schedule online at packinghousemke.com or give us a call at 414-483-5054. Great food, handcrafted cocktails across the street from the airport on Layton. Packing House, a family owned and operated since 1974.
Madison Liquidators has officially moved into a bigger, nicer showroom off Pleasant View Road in Middleton, and they are proud to announce they have expanded to provide educational and healthcare institutional furnishings. They have great new offerings of quality new office furnishings from industry leaders like Groupe Lacoste and Via Seating, and you can see the expanded and extensive inventory of used furniture online at MadisonLiquidators.com, or you can call Kelly and have her help you make a plan for your new space. Start today at MadisonLiquidators.com and tell them you heard them on Talk 92.7 FM. Tune in for special Labor Fest coverage on WRRD and Talk 92.7 FM Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, live from the Summerfest grounds. Earl Ingram Jr. will be broadcasting noon to 3 p.m., bringing exclusive interviews with brothers and sisters in labor, local union leadership, and Wisconsin politicians. Exclusive noon to 3 Labor Fest broadcast sponsored by the Milwaukee Area Labor Council and its affiliated members and our friends at Teamsters Local 344 and Teamsters Local 200. Only on WRRD 1510 AM, WTTN 1580 AM, and Talk 92.7 FM.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
You're going to be dead.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
You're going to be dead.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines are open. It's Friday. We air grievances and whatever else at 844-967-2789.
We're going to have to get some calf cams.
Calf cams?
For my calves. People deserve to see my calves.
Well, you can't get your leg up in front of the camera?
No, probably not.
No, probably not. Annie from Watertown, you're up. Happy Friday, Annie. What do you got for us?
Hey, Annie.
Oh, just, I guess grievance. What else can I do? I'd never really wanted a tattoo, but I'm thinking of getting WTF tattooed on me somewhere.
How about across your knuckles, Annie, and then, if you don't like the service at the restaurant, you just flash WTF.
Yeah, I just opened my mail. Okay, I haven't moved anywhere. I've stayed pretty much the same place for 45 years. All my friends make fun of me. They go off Washington, California, Arizona, Germany. I stay here. My passport ran out, I think, 20 years ago. I don't know. The last time I got it renewed, I just bring in the old one. So I haven't had my birth certificate since 1979, I would say. And now I just opened my mail in a week. I need to get my driver's license renewed, and I have to have my birth certificate for this now.
Ooh.
Which totally just pisses me off and freaks me out. And
it's called real ID. I think there's a whole new standard for your driver's license, and if you ever want to travel internationally, you got to have that real ID, I think, as well.
But just to get my license renewed, you have to have, and you can't have a copy. I know I carried a copy in my wallet for years. I don't know where that went to, but
well,
you
Annie,
have to have it with a seal on.
The state has to assure themselves that you're not some sort of radical jihadist Islamic terrorist.
Yeah, I don't know. What
But
do
if you
run away?
got your NRA card, that'll suffice.
Yeah.
Right.
So just a new WTF to make my day.
Annie, let me ask you this. Obviously, that can be a problem for some people. Are you able to get a copy, a certified hospital copy of your birth certificate with a phone call or two?
Well, within a week or two, I'm going to have to run around and go to the county, and pay something to get an official with a seal embossed on it, because you can't just have a copy. No copies are allowed. Says and I don't know though. I'm sure there's at least $5-6 charge for that.
Come on, good citizen, show your papers.
I've had a driver's license since 1972, 73, renewed constantly. I've been here. I haven't gone anywhere, much to my chagrin. And now this is the payment I get for it. Who are you?
Who do you blame, Annie? Is that Tony Evers or Scott Walker?
Well, it's not Tony Evers. This is, I don't know, it says something on there about a new federal law.
Oh.
Yeah.
It all has to
Real
do with our
ID.
fear of immigration, I'm sure, and voter fraud and all that crap.
Well, Annie, because appreciate the call, Annie, and have a wonderful weekend. And here's a little unsolicited advice, my friend. Go get yourself a renewed passport. Because as much as I'd like to think some Democrat's going to save us, what if Donald Trump won re-election? You may want the ability to travel internationally readily. I'm just saying, I'm going to get my passport renewed.
That's probably a good idea.
And inspect some real estate on the Canadian side, if you know what I'm saying.
Come on, man. I mean, Toronto is a fine town.
I got to keep my nose clean, man. If I get a DWI, I could be trapped in this nation. Then I got to go south.
844-967-2789. Callers, Tony, be patient. We'll get back to you at the end. On the other side of this break. We are the Devil's Advocates. It's Friday, airing some grievances. What?
I'm just wondering, how many brain cells you're down to.
Oh, I got plenty of brain cells left. Speaking of DWIs, I did see a headline, and I'm not saying it wasn't.
Why would you say that? What are you trying to?
Well, there was a car accident. Kelly, the Wisconsin
Justice Kelly,
the Wisconsin
crashed
Supreme Court justice, crashed his car.
It's not implied that he was under the influence.
There was nothing reported that he was under the influence, but I'm not sure. Did they administer a test?
Well, if there were injuries, and I did see that reporting.
Yeah, there were injuries.
There were injuries. One would think a blood test might be administered.
I don't know. Thankfully, everyone's going to be okay, but just letting you know.
Except for perhaps Justice Kelly's reputation. Don't besmirch it.
What? Reputation?
Don't besmirch it.
Does he have a reputation?
Yeah, it's bad. But don't besmirch it. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, more of your grievances. On the other side, 844-967-2789.
Do you want to be a winner? All the winners I know like the Devil's Advocates Facebook page. Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
Go back to where they came from, help those people, come back and show us how to do it. That was the full quote.
They didn't come from anywhere. They were here, dude. Are you employed, Chris?
I am.
Do you have an HR department?
Yes, I do. I'm a union machinist.
Oh, do you work with minorities?
I do.
If you walked up to one of your coworkers who was a minority, you told them to go back to where they came from, would HR have a conversation with you about that, do you think?
It depends on the person, really. I mean, some people are...
If somebody complained to HR about what you said, do you think they would have a conversation with you about that? Okay.
Absolutely.
But why? Why would they pull you off of your job to discuss this with you, and what do you think their beef would be?
Because they're trying to protect the corporation from lawsuits.
Lawsuit for what?
Discrimination, racism.
So if your coworkers, if you say it to your coworker, it could be described as discrimination or racism. But when the president says it to the world, it's not racist?
No. Yikes.
You are listening to WRRD 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
We the people, the hardworking 99% of men and women, only have a voice when we join together as one and amplify our message. Now is the time for all Wisconsinites to join We the People and raise our voices. Do you feel like you are wasting your money funding unaccountable consultants, unresponsive candidates, and their campaigns? Help us do something that really matters. Please join We the People. Give what you can so we can support progressive radio stations like this one, using the public airwaves to educate Wisconsin about what we the people want for our state and remind Wisconsin's politicians that they work for us. Your donations to We the People at p4ppc.org, a registered, compliant IRS 501c3, will always be tax deductible, will always remain anonymous, and We the People pledge to spend 100% of donations educating Wisconsin on the issues our donors want discussed, giving individuals a voice in the collective message of We the People. Please give today at p4ppc.org. That's p4ppc.org. We the people need you.
Five9, your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy Five9s.com.
Listen to This is Progress with me, Sabrina Madison, on WRRD, and join me in a discussion on progress taking shape across Wisconsin. Tune in Saturdays from 10 a.m. to noon for This is Progress on WRRD 1510 a.m.
For WRRD and WTTN, my name is Brian Kelly with your headlines. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Forest Service is reporting finding a rare bee in the Chuquamaga-Nicolet National Forest. The cuckoo bee was thought to be extinct, but it was initially found in Nova Scotia, Canada in 2012. Now in mid-July in Oconto County in northern Wisconsin, 3 male cuckoo bees were spotted on black-eyed Susans on the roadside. The Brewers were off yesterday and start a series today at home against the Diamondbacks. The Packers lost the preseason game to the Raiders in a shortened field in Winnipeg, Manitoba, 22-21. Highs today in the low to mid-70s with partly cloudy skies, overnight low in the 52 in Madison and 63 in Milwaukee. You're listening to WRRD and WTTN, Wisconsin's political talk.
And taking names since the Wisconsin Uprising. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You know, with some frequency, you've stolen these get-backs from me this week.
I like one time.
I'm just going to give you the opportunity to, grand theft get-back once again.
Salty. Come on, man.
Welcome back. The happy hour, it continues.
Don't be so salty.
You got something on Dan Kelly?
We do. Patrick Marley wrote this up. State Supreme Court Justice Daniel ticketed after car crash that sends 2 to hospital. According to
None to the morgue, though, right?
That's correct. According to the accident report, Kelly failed to yield August 9th at the intersection of E and ZZ near his home in North Prairie in Waukesha County. Told a sheriff's deputy he didn't see a van coming, and he hit it.
I've not yet begun to defile
Come
myself.
on, let's not go there.
What, you're all sensitive now?
Well, if there's no implication that there's... I don't want to imply the man has been imbibing if there's no implication or allegation thereof.
Okay. I'll continue. Sensitive
I'm sorry
Prudy.
that disgusts you.
Right. If it wasn't for the airbags and seat belts, I think we'd be dead, said Frank Remfrey, the driver of the van. He and his passenger were taken to the hospital, sore but otherwise all right. Remfrey said he was going about 40 miles an hour when Kelly slammed into the van he was driving for the Little Swiss Clock Shop of Waukesha, where he works. The van was totaled, and a 300-pound grandfather clock it was carrying was damaged. Kelly had no apparent injuries, according to the accident report. His car, a 2014 Ford Fusion, suffered from disabling damage and had to be towed away.
Let me stop right there. Ford Fusion? Yeah. I'm not trying to be a car snob, but a Fusion? Justice Kelly? Really? I thought you were a big shot.
Are you car shaming now?
Well, a little bit.
Got into a topic that I shouldn't have.
Kelly was given a ticket for $389.50 for failing to yield at a stop sign in an accident that caused bodily harm, according to online court records. Kelly did not say whether he planned to challenge the citation, but in a statement called the incident an unfortunate event for all concerned. I was involved in a two-car accident and cited for a traffic violation on August 9th. I immediately ensured the occupants of the other vehicle had whatever assistance they needed and fully cooperated with responding law enforcement.
Do you think he'll make a Supreme Court case out of it?
Oh,
And would he have to recuse? Do you think he would?
No, you don't have to, right?
Recuse from his own case, I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they can decide.
Nothing would force him.
They can decide. The Supreme Court, Wisconsin Supreme Court justices can decide on their own when and if ever they would recuse themselves.
Okay, so steep ticket, unfortunate accident from the accounts we see in the paper. But if you know more, call us, 844-967-2789. I see you're looking at the police report.
I was
Don't
just
see
trying
anything.
to find a time of the incidents from the CCAP, but it's unavailable on here.
No allegations of 3 a.m. or meth in the glove box, nothing of that sort.
Nothing reported on that.
Okay, so we will not besmirch Justice Kelly, because I bet he knows a few lawyers.
We have to bring back law and order.
But it also does not say. We don't know. I mean, in
it doesn't say he didn't have meth. I would think they would charge.
Yeah, would they? Would they? A Supreme Court justice? I mean,
allegedly, if he allegedly had meth, yeah, I think so. I think that would be a career wrecker. Yes, I think that'd be a problem. In this modern day and age, although it is Waukesha County.
Come on.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Tony from Portland.
Laughs just like you do.
You are up. Thanks for calling, Tony. What do you got for us today?
That was a crappy story. No dead hooker in the trunk.
Oh, come on, man.
Well, why would you even bring that story
Well, because
up?
the guy's running. He's a Supreme Court justice. He's running for Supreme Court
re-election.
He was appointed.
Right.
And, I mean, the guy just, hurt a couple of people driving a car going through a stop sign. Do as I say, not as I do, Tony, I guess.
Well, that in between. And then now I got to listen to stories about Crudy's calves. I mean, get them insured already. I mean, what? This is so weird.
I was thinking about getting them molded and cast for bronze.
Lloyd's of London are working on a price for him right now, Tony.
They're asking and seeking a serious deductible, though.
What, $2? Hey, no, but the reason I called up is because my grievance is this week is that it seems to me that we've gotten to a point, and I've kind of gotten to this point, where we expect the Republicans to just be complete D-bags. And if a Democrat has a gaffe like Joe Biden, then it's a big deal. There's this big, huge deal made out of little gaffes by Joe Biden, while the racist in chief just goes nuts. And I really feel that we have to get back to, if my guy does it, it sucks, but your guy's doing it every day. And we don't seem to, I just don't see anything in the media.
Tony, we haven't determined yet that Joe Biden's our guy. And certainly I think if you're in the public eye constantly, we talk on the radio 3 hours a day. Certainly we misspeak. Occasionally we say something, that it comes out, unfortunately, Dom is often misinterpreted. But ultimately, we can still be selective at this state of the game. We've got a third debate coming up. I mean, hell, my understanding, probably going to be a 2-night affair in September 12th and 13th in Houston. Could be still like 12 candidates. I know Seth Mouton dropped out, but there are still more candidates in the Democratic field than the combined Republican and Democratic fields in 2016. There's still lots of them out there. We can be selective, Tony. If one of them is a gaffe machine, then we don't have to choose that one. we can still be selective with who we choose, because some can passionately express exactly what they mean. They have a vision for our nation. They know how to lead. And there are candidates of that caliber. I mean, at least a handful. Bernie, Warren, Kamala Harris, I'll throw Joe Biden in that mix. Any of those candidates, when they are the eventual nominee, Tony, that's when we gather around and we put our brick wall up. Because, yes, I guarantee none of them are as bad as Trump. But I would say we have exceptionally good candidates. We have once-in-a-generation sort of great candidates. There's lots to love here, Tony. We don't have to settle, man.
Thanks for the call, Tony. 844-967-2789.
Although it is Friday night.
But I agree.
Closer to quitting time, the better they look.
I agree with what he says in the sense that the bar has been lowered so much for the GOP and for Trump, because just look at what he does every single day. And that by contrast, if someone from the other party does something, has a gaffe, well, we focus on it. Oh, look at
the media, the Democrats.
Well, I mean, I do. I noticed it when I heard Biden's last gaffe about poor children and black kids and all that
being almost as good as
I mean,
white
it was
kids.
So I noticed that. I took note of that. Wow, that's a dumb thing to say. But then you compare that to Trump, and Trump's just a terrible human being, a terrible president, and it's just out of control. So by contrast, yes, certainly it's a gaffe, but look at what Trump did. It's not nearly as bad as that. But I don't think we have to lower our standards. I mean, if it's a gaffe, it's a gaffe. Oh, well. I mean,
how do you put the toothpaste back in the tube? I mean, you're right. He has lowered the standard, but how do you put Pandora back in the box, man?
But just because Trump as an individual has lowered the standard for the presidency doesn't mean that your standards or my standards have to be affected or impacted whatsoever.
Let's talk about swearing. I think we broached this topic very briefly yesterday. Swearing. Candidates are more likely to publicly swear. We know Donald Trump has done it, been caught on a live mic. Got no big qualm doing it.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Well, here on the FCC-regulated airwaves, we struggle to not let an F-bomb drop here and there, because sometimes we passionately argue. But the discourse, and I'm not saying you and I, we've talked like this forever. We've always had filthy mouths. You should have gotten your mouth washed out.
I did. See what it did for me? Not a damn thing.
The quote-unquote discourse, well, it's going to be full of profanity soon. I think you're going to see the most gutter campaign of all time. You're going to see people saying stuff, especially on the cable news. You're going to see S-bombs, F-bombs. You're going to see different language that you have not historically seen in elective cycles. And I'm not saying, your poor ears, but if you think somehow we're going back to more civil, I don't think we are. I don't think we can. We can have a better human being.
More civil ever existed. More civil when? During the civil rights movement? More civil when? During women's suffrage? More civil when? During slavery and Jim Crow? More civil when? I mean, if the things they said about each other in politics all the way up to now, I'm not clear that the 50s or the 20s or the 60s or the 1800s were any better. What makes you think that?
Nazi party.
What makes you think that? Because it happened in the past in the black and white photos? People are still people, man. People still have emotions. People say hurtful, rude things for effect and for purpose. That has always happened. I believe it always will.
People are people, so why should it be you and I get along so awfully?
Something like that. I just don't know if there was ever this grand time in American politics where there was ever this level of civility that the FCC forces upon broadcasters. I'm not clear that ever happened. Now, maybe people would, do it behind closed doors. It wasn't so public. You didn't have a camera on everybody's
locker
phone.
room talk, if you will.
Exactly.
That's permissible. That's
Sure.
boys being boys.
Yeah, it happened.
Have a couple beers with Squee and you say things.
You say things. You do things. It was in the boardroom. It was at the country club. It was on the golf course.
Well, Dom, that is why most media operations discourage their hosts from imbibing on the air.
Sometimes I had too many beers.
Instead, we encourage it.
It's happy hour, 844-967-2789. One segment left. You can join us, air your grievances. Let us know what you think. If you were the president, what would you order people to do?
If I had one wish that I could wish this holiday season, $30 million a month to be given to me.
I give myself awards all the time.
For all-encompassing power over every living being.
Powers that you wouldn't believe.
Would be to set aside 1 month each year to have an extended 31-day orgasm.
Then it came in and out. It came in 3 times.
Okay, I need revenge against all my enemies. They should die like pigs in hell.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them.
Amalgamated Transit Union Local 998 is made up of the drivers and mechanics, professionals in Milwaukee. We keep the buses running all night long and all over the city. I'm one of them. After more than 20 years, I have seen it all, from bad drivers to hostile passengers. Just last week, one of my coworkers had a gun pulled on her. Enough is enough. We get Milwaukee to work. We get them home again. Our working conditions are your safety conditions, and we need help to provide improved safety and security for drivers and passengers. Call Chris Aberly at 414-278-4338 and tell him to stand with ATU 998. Make safety and a fair contract a priority.
This message paid for by ATU Local 998.
I don't see the support. I don't support it.
Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald doesn't see the support for legalized medicinal marijuana, even though the 2018 midterm referendum in 11 counties and the city of Waukesha passed by over 79%. Call Scott Fitzgerald at 608-266-5660. Tell him you support legalized medicinal marijuana.
No, I don't see it.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and my family owns Madison Liquidators. We've officially moved into our new space off Pleasant View Road in Middleton, and we're excited to announce that Madison Liquidators is now Dane County's premier dealer for Groupe Lacoste. In addition to their unbeatable 25-year warranty, Groupe Lacoste has 10 lines to choose from, ranging from traditional to ultra-modern, all available in 18 different finishes. Give me a call and let's make a plan for your space, or go online to madisonliquidators.com and shop our complete inventory of used office furniture.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Exclamation point.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day. If you got something to say, now is your final opportunity at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I got to throw one more sort of from the news file out for the consideration of our fine audience. The Overstock CEO. He's stepping down in wake of deep state comments.
Now, Overstock.com, right? This is
If you say so.
Okay.
I try to buy my stuff from brick and mortar. I like to shop local, small businesses, that kind of stuff.
Okay, but doesn't he own? Or,
yes.
Okay,
yes.
so he's
the founder and CEO of Overstock.com, Patrick Byrne, resigned today after news of his romantic involvement with an infamous Russian agent, and controversial comments about the deep state left the e-commerce company reeling. Here's a quote from Byrne.
Wait. This guy's sleeping with Maria Butina and saying things about the deep state?
He is.
Please continue.
Well, I believe that I did what was necessary for the good of the country, for the good of the firm. I am in a sad position of having to sever ties with Overstock, both as CEO and board member, Byrne said in a statement. Jonathan Johnson, a unfortunately named longtime employee and board member, will step in as interim CEO. Let's get to the good stuff. In an August 12th press release entitled Overstock.com, CEO comments on deep state withholds further comment, Byrne confirmed media reports that he engaged in a 3-year relationship with Scott Walker's Russian girlfriend, allegedly Maria Butina. now serving an 18-month prison sentence for infiltrating conservative political circles on the Russian government's behalf without registering with U.S. authorities. Byrne claimed to be involved in the U.S. government's investigation into the 2016 presidential election. Byrne said he began helping Men in Black in 2015 with investigating Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton and Russian election meddling.
Men in Black?
Those investigations turned out to be less about law enforcement and more about political espionage conducted against Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and to a lesser degree, Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, Byrne said. Now I'm going to read on a little bit. Oh, no, there's no more in this article. Here's my understanding. He's alleging that Peter Strzok, you know that guy, that Peter Strzok apparently first encouraged him to have a relationship, and then when he had broken off the romantic relationship, encouraged him to get back together with Maria Butina, because apparently they were striking gold, Jerry. Gold, I tell you. And this overstock...
Wait.
Yeah.
This is the first
and
I'm
apparently he has provided other prior testimony to the FBI and has a prior relationship with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And while this may seem conspiratorial and crazy, some aspects of what he is saying is being confirmed by other FBI sources, or at least those with prior relationships with the Bureau. I wish I had a better article to source.
I'll see if I can dig something up here.
You didn't hear about that crazy time story?
Well, I mean, I heard about the Overstock guy sleeping with Maria Butina, but you're the first one to ever mention, or at least hear the words Strzok in relationship to this. Let's see what...
Just Google Peter Strzok.
I got it.
Overstock.com.
So dailybeast.com reporting, referencing his previous claims that he had helped the Men in Black with their Clinton and Russia investigations. Byrne stated that he had assisted law enforcement with cracking a murder 17 years ago, and that this eventually resulted in them asking for his help in 2015 and 2016. I figured out the name of who sent me the orders, and this has been confirmed. The man who sent me was Peter Strzok, Byrne exclaimed, naming the embattled former FBI agent at the center of the right's Spygate conspiracies. This is going to be quite a whirlwind, he said. At times bursting into tears, Byrne alleged that there was a big cover-up of political espionage that was connected to President Trump, Hillary Clinton, Marco Rubio, and Ted Cruz, insisting that this is not a theory of his because he was in the room when it happened. Both catching my friend's murderer and taking on Wall Street were consistent with my values, and it was my honor to help the Men in Black, and it was the third time they came to me, he said at one point. And I got some request. I did not know who the hell it came from, and it was fishy, and 3 years later, on watching television, I realized who it was. It was Peter Strzok and former Deputy FBI Director Andy McCabe that the orders came from. What?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Now, when he went on Fox News, the host, McCallum, asked Byrne what Strzok purportedly asked him to do. Byrne did not describe specific actions he was allegedly told to take, but characterized them as political espionage. The former CEO added that he began a relationship with Maria Butina, a Russian national currently serving prison time in the U.S., for failing to register as a foreign agent. Byrne said that all of the purported information he gleaned from his experiences ultimately landed in the hands of Connecticut U.S. Attorney John Durham, who had been conducting an investigation into the origins of the Russia probe at the behest of, wait for it, Tom, Attorney General William Barr. Plot thickens. Sounds like this guy is some sort of Republican operative, quite frankly, but let me read on. Last month, Byrne disclosed he was involved in an FBI probe into the Russia investigation and admitted to having a relationship with Butina. In an August 12th statement, he said it was the third time in his life that he had helped the Men in Black. The first was when my friend, former NBA player Brian Williams, was murdered. And the second was when I helped the MIB, the Men in Black, shake up Wall Street a decade ago. That part's been confirmed. He did give them information about basically how insider trading and different stuff went on. and I don't mean that source from Fox News, but I had seen that prior. There's a kernel of truth somewhere in the crazy ramblings that the Overstock CEO
Isn't that kind of the point of those that maybe over-embellish and fantasize? I mean,
this isn't Front Row Joe at the Trump concert. This is, the CEO of a major corporation.
And because someone's the CEO of a major corporation, they can't be bat crap crazy?
Well, Trump, is the example that makes the rule, perhaps, but you would not expect it. And the fact that I had read reportedly that he did have a prior relationship with the FBI, really regarding financial stuff, explained how some of the financial transactions, insider trading stuff was going on in Wall Street, explained it to the FBI.
Let me read
and
a little
therefore
bit more.
had prior credibility with the FBI, was my understanding.
Again, from the Daily Beast, Burns said he decided to come forward with his deep state concerns because he felt guilty for recent mass shootings. Quote, but the issue is, I realized that these orders I got from Peter Strzok, as I put together things, I know much more than I should know and tried to keep silent. Everyone in this country has gone nuts, and especially for the last year when I realized what I know. Every time I see one of these things, somebody drives 600 miles to gun down 20 strangers at a mall, I feel a bit responsible. He also claimed federal investigators offered him $1 billion to keep quiet. And
$1 billion?
$1 billion bribe to keep quiet, quote unquote, and broke down emotionally when Asman asked about his mentor Warren Buffett, whom Byrne described as one of the great heroines of my life. Byrne said he wasn't just focused on the Men in Black and political espionage, though. He also took some time to make a pitch for his former company. I mean, this...
Great American company. Great American story.
Does he have credibility when he says that federal investigators offered him a $1 billion bribe to keep quiet? I mean, that I'm sorry, you don't have any credibility.
It seems like an inflated number, but if you're the CEO of a major corporation, maybe you got a big, your soul sells for a higher price tag. They might offer you $100,000, let's say.
I don't believe
but Byrne,
in that.
as the CEO of Overstock.com.
Come on, man.
No, it all seems very fishy.
It does seem... Now, presumably, but all these things should be verifiable,
But Maria
right?
Botina's attorney is like, we appreciate the aspects of the investigation
Where's the
being
journalism?
exposed.
Who offered you a $1 billion bribe?
He did get a place on the Fox News with Martha McCullough.
Who offered the bribe? When was it? Why didn't you take it? Was it cash or check?
You know who should investigate this? Greg Palast, our fine guest. We appreciate him joining us. He is a fine investigative journalist.
Weird.
I'm going to a high school football game later. Thank you, Greg Palast. Yes. I'm going to enjoy the game. You stick around, please, and enjoy our good friend, Maggie Dawn of the Resistance. She's got guests. They're all coming in studio here on Brady Street. And then off to an 8th grade football game in the morning, Dom. Lots of football.
And then next week, Fancy Brian, you're taking off. We got Keith coming in stepping in for Brian. Have a great time, my friend. Be safe, be well. We look forward to you coming back next week. And you're taking off for a couple of days, too, next week, right?
Probably just for the game.
All right.
Have a great weekend. Everybody cares for us, Dom. We're the chosen ones.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
If I had one wish that I could wish this holiday season...
Shut the f*** up, Donnie.
Tune in for special Labor Fest coverage on WRRD and Talk 92.7 FM Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, live from the Summerfest grounds. Earl Ingram Jr. will be broadcasting noon to 3 p.m., bringing exclusive interviews with brothers and sisters in labor, local union leadership, and Wisconsin politicians. Exclusive noon to 3 Labor Fest broadcast sponsored by the Milwaukee Area Labor Council and its affiliated members and our friends at Teamsters Local 344 and Teamsters Local 200. Only on WRRD 1510 AM, WTTN 1580 AM, and Talk 92.7 FM.
This is Dom from the Devil's Advocates. You know, in the 7 years that Crudy and I have been doing the show, we have never had a more engaged, dialed in, and motivated audience, and we love them for it. Now is the time for you to reach the greatest audience ever. Call now, advertise with the Devil's Advocates and Real Resistance Radio. Market your products or services